Well, hello! I didn't see you there. Welcome. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I'm the one that pressed play on this video. Anyway, my name is Brittany. I am a Jesus-loving 1-year-old assistant teacher here in Southwest Michigan. I'm currently in college to be an elementary school teacher, so shout out to all my educators out there. You guys are heroes. You always have been, but especially during this pandemic, I just want to extend my thank you for just investing in the children, staying as positive as you can, and really raising up the future of this world. I know that sounds so cheesy, but kids really are just so worth it, and I'm so appreciative to all the educators out there who are putting the kids first, and I look up to you guys a lot, so thank you for what you're doing. I have always wanted to start this YouTube channel. I've just been really intimidated by the whole process, not really sure where to start, how to put it together, but during the pandemic I've just had a lot of time to pray and think, and I feel like the time is now, so here we go. With this channel, I'm really dreaming up a place to just spread hope and positivity, and to create a community where everybody from all different stages and walks of life will feel welcome. And I'm going to be talking a lot about Jesus, a lot about education, about college life, about children, about health and wellness, about mental health. Those are just some things I'm really passionate about and want to share, and I'm really hoping and dreaming of this account, of this vlog, to be a place where you can come, no matter if you share the same passions as me, and just feel really uplifted, encouraged, and inspired to follow your ambitions and to be brave and follow your dreams, and just to feel encouraged and positive and uplifted in life in general. So that is my vision, that is my dream. For this first video, I actually had it on my heart to speak about something that I haven't felt like I could talk about, but just felt really invited to open up and share now. So I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off and say that I am going to be talking about my journey with restrictive eating, with eating disorder tendencies, and with really, really negative body image issues. About 5 years ago, little background information on me, I started a weight loss journey and I lost 100 pounds, which I do feel so incredibly proud of myself for. That is not an easy feat. It has changed my life dramatically, and I'm so thankful for it. I also, about 2 years ago, was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, otherwise known as OCD. And for those of you who don't know much about that, a big component of OCD is, to those who have it, they experience these things called intrusive thoughts, and those are thoughts that come into your brain that are very disturbing, most of the times graphic, very scary a lot of times to the person, very confusing, and a lot of the times it just causes you to panic or to really see yourself as a terrible human being. At least in my experience, that's what I felt before I was diagnosed with it, and light got brought to the darkness in that situation. But because of those intrusive thoughts, the person who has OCD will develop compulsions to get your mind off of those thoughts. And commonly known compulsions are washing your hands a lot if you experience intrusive thoughts that have to do with your health, or obsessively checking if you turned an appliance off, if you're constantly worried or having intrusive thoughts that your house is going to go on fire. For me, I won't dive into it now. Maybe I'll do a video about that later, because it's a whole testimony within of itself, how God really intervened to bring light to my OCD and my diagnosis. That's one of my favorite stories to tell. God really did a work in that, so maybe I'll definitely do a video about that later. But I just believe that those two things are great things to know to set up the story, to give it a little bit of context. So right now, what I know is that, one, I'm in counseling, and I just want to put a little flag out there that if you're struggling with any type of eating disorder or any type of disordered eating habits, or if you're walking through grief, or if you're walking through mental illness, whether it's anxiety, bipolar disorder, OCD, anything like that, I just want to maybe be your sign from the Lord to pray and consider going to counseling. I just want to say it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, because it's really going to be in counseling where you're going to be able to speak about these things that have been plaguing you down, and a lot of light is going to be brought to that darkness. The Lord says that his burden is easy and his yoke is light, and I believe a lot of the times the enemy's foothold in our mind is to keep us locked up and silent about the struggles that we have. But the minute that you're able to get those out of there, the enemy has less authority, and light can really be brought to the lies that you have been believing. I know the word says that our battle is not with flesh and blood, but with principalities and evil, and just like the spiritual aspect. Also, another flag out there, I believe mental illness is partly spiritual warfare, but it is also a very physical, real battle. I know with OCD, medication is helpful because there's actually an imbalance of serotonin in your brain, and that is not your fault. That's a very just practical thing, that there is a chemical imbalance in your brain. So if you are struggling with anything that has to do with mental illness, just know that God does give you the authority over it, but he also calls you to be proactive and to go to counseling and maybe get on medication if that is something your counselor believes will help you, and do the heart work. And yes, I said heart, because there is a lot of heart work to do in that is hard. Find community, find people who struggle with what you struggle with, and don't be locked up anymore. Talking about it is powerful. It takes the authority away from it. It also says in 2 Corinthians that we have the authority to take every thought captive. So I know that's what we're called to do. Anyway, off of my soapbox, I just wanted to put that flag out there because I believe it's important. I was trying to, where was I going with that? This is what I do a lot. I forget what I'm talking about. Anyway, with my journey, I believe that I have been struggling with restrictive eating for as long as my health journey has been happening, but it's really been brought into a new life in the last year and a half. I lost my grandma a year and a half ago. She was a big support system for me. So I definitely entered a bit of a depression and felt like a lot of aspects in my life felt out of control, and the way I ate felt like it was something I could control and could make me feel better, which is true. The way you eat can make you feel better, but I took it into a very I took it to a just kind of it turned into a bad situation. That's all I'm gonna say. But a year and a half ago, it started very subtly. I'll just rip the band-aid off and say that what I'm dealing with is a form of binge and purging. It's called chewing and spitting. It started very subtly about a year and a half ago. I would start to eat something that in my mind was a bad food. And it's crazy to be saying this stuff out loud because I have been preaching for my entire wellness life to just eat the way that makes you feel good, to not consider food bad, to just eat well and live well. And it really took me kind of coming to Jesus and to admit to myself that I'm actually dealing with those very topics that I have been preaching. So it's a very humbling experience to even just go before the Lord, but go before you and to tell you that I am struggling with these things. But anyway, I started to view foods as bad. Some of my trigger foods include bread, gluten, anything with sugar in it. I don't know, like ice cream, banana bread, sweets, stuff like that. Just were big fear foods for me, still are. I just always had a fear that they were going to make me gain weight or make me not feel good. And it was very innocent at first. I would just start eating something and then I would think, oh no, this isn't good for me, so I'd spit it out. But eventually it became a coping mechanism, and then during the pandemic it became a real problem. And that's when I sought out help, because the fear of food became so real. It became all consuming. It's all I thought about. I felt like I had to eat a certain way, and if I didn't, then I was gonna gain weight, I was going to lose it, I was going to, I don't know, it was a crazy world. Like I said, I'm still trying to understand it. But it got to a really dark place in the very like recent past. And so that's when I like sought out help for it. But the reason I'm starting this video is that I have been praying and I have been thinking and I've been researching a lot about what the best option is for me to really pursue freedom from food restriction and from negative body image, because that is another thing that I really struggle with. I have a really hard time with my stomach. I feel like I'm constantly looking in the mirror. I'm constantly hoping that what I see in the mirror is good, because what I see in the mirror usually determines how I feel for the rest of the day. I can be really obsessive with looking at pictures, and it just isn't a fun way to live, guys. It's so hard and it's so all-consuming and very immersive. And I was standing in my kitchen the other day and I felt like the Lord just told me very, very clearly and very strongly that there is healing from this and that I'm in the process. And one thing that has been in my brain a lot to pursue is intuitive eating. And intuitive eating has been something that I've been thinking about for a while, but has been hard for me to commit to, because it's not like anything else I have done. It is not restrictive at all. It actually promotes just listening to your body and giving yourself unconditional permission to eat whatever you want. And just that statement, still my heart is like, oh my gosh, like, what? Because I don't want to gain weight. Like, if I'm being honest, like where my heart is I don't want to gain weight. I don't want to give myself that unpermissional condition to eat. But I believe that if I commit to this journey, that the Lord will meet me in it, and it'll free up my brain, free up my mind to really live again, and to not be so consumed with what I look like, with what I'm eating, and with food. So a little bit of background knowledge with intuitive eating. I have some notes here, so if I look down, I apologize. But intuitive eating was something that was designed by registered dietitians by the name of Evelyn and Elise. They wrote a book called Intuitive Eating in 1995, and it was very revolutionary, still is. And the idea of it, like I said, is to get in touch with your body's natural signals of hunger and fullness, to allow yourself to listen to what your body wants to eat and give yourself that permission to eat what you want. And there is how they refer to it is it's a non-diet approach to health and wellness. And there are 10 principles that come along with intuitive eating. I will do another I'll do another video that does a deep dive into intuitive eating and what it is, because I just want this to be a very brief overview and like an invitation for you guys into my life of what I'm pursuing and why I'm pursuing it. I don't believe intuitive eating is for everybody. I have done the research and I have done the praying, and I believe it's for me right now, because I am wanting to recover and heal from food restriction and food eating disorder tendencies. And I have done the work in the past to kind of align myself with a healthier way of living and a healthier way of eating. Like I said, I am on a health journey. I think we're all always on a health journey for our whole lives. But 5 years ago, I did eat whatever I want, and it looked like McDonald's, and it looked like pizza and grilled cheese constantly, and I was really overweight and really unhappy. And so when intuitive eating says eat whatever you want, I think that's why it freaks me out, because I was like, I used to eat whatever I want and it was awful. But what I'm pursuing is a balance here. because I went from eating whatever I want and feeling awful to restricting and feeling awful. And I know that there's freedom from that, because I haven't always had a bad relationship with food. It's just really taken on a new life in the last year and a half. So I just went on a tangent and then I lost my thought again. Told you. This is me, you guys. Welcome to the show. Anywho, there are 10 principles of intuitive eating, which I said I will talk about more in other videos. But some benefits from intuitive eating are higher self-esteem, better body image, more satisfaction with your life, lower triglyceride levels, and lower rates of eating disorder tendencies, and lower rates of emotional eating. And for me, the benefits of this far outweigh the possible hardships of it. Something they talk about intuitive eating a lot is that there's 3 things that can happen. You're either going to gain weight, you're going to maintain your weight, or you're going to lose weight. But that's not the point of intuitive eating. The point of intuitive eating is to find food freedom and to find a better emotional place with food, to really heal your relationship with food, and to just free up your mind to live. And that's really, really, really why I'm stepping into this journey. And I am talking about this because I want to vlog it. I want to journal about it. I want to talk about it. And I believe this community can be really something for us to rally around and to gather around. And I don't think that this is going to be easy. I think that there's going to be hardships in this, but I want to document it, and I want you guys to come along. So here we are. I just got that out. That's crazy that I'm talking about that. A lot of people don't know that I even deal with that. But in Revelation 11:12, it says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, so what Jesus did for us, and the word of our testimony. So like actually speaking about the places that God is actively working on. That is what gives us the ability to overcome. So I believe that it is important to talk about the things that we struggle with and to be open about it, because of what Jesus did, we can come to him with what we're dealing with. And it's not always easy to heal from these things, but Jesus didn't ever promise it would be easy, but he promised he'd be with us. So thank you for listening to me. I am super excited to go on this journey and to have you come along. And I'm very expectant for a lot of healing to happen and for my brain to be freed up to pursue just other things in life and other passions that I have. I know that I'm not meant to be stuck in this, and if you're struggling with something like this, just know you're not alone. You're not meant to be stuck in this either, and there is hope and healing out there for you. And if you want to heal alongside me, please do reach out. Let's talk about it. It's not easy to find the right thing for you. If intuitive eating isn't the thing for you, that's okay. But there's always something. There's always a way to heal. And that is the hope that we have in Jesus, that he, took the burden of the cross to give us a way to fullness of life. And I'm very excited. I have no idea what is going to come, obviously, but I have started intuitive eating a little bit, and it's been great. Honestly, yesterday I have a praise report. I went to Water Street Coffee in Kalamazoo, and I ordered a chai tea latte without freaking out about what was in it. And I also felt like the chicken pesto sandwich sounded really good, and I ate it without internally freaking out, which is a huge win. I don't think I talked about it, but a huge part of like my journey with this is I would sometimes eat my fear foods, but I would feel so much guilt about it, and not only guilt, but like so much fear about what it was going to do to me. And just to have that experience yesterday felt very, very uplifting. So here we are, here we go. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.